Hey guys, welcome in this new video. I hope that all of you are doing great. In today's video, we are taking a look at two trades on USDN and GBPN that I took earlier this week. Well, one was actually 2 weeks ago and one was this week, and we will see the breakdown of both of them in this video. Before we start, if you are not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you do that so that way you are sure to not miss new videos coming out. So as I said, we're taking a look at two different trades today. One is on USDN and the other is on GBPN. So first of all, here's the profit that I posted in my story on Instagram. By the way, guys, if you don't follow me on Instagram, make sure you do that just right here. But basically, these two trades, one was a long-term trade initially, which was the USDN. It ended up more as a mid-term trade. We can say simply because I stick with that trade for about 2 weeks. So it was not a really, short-term trade, but it was also not really a long-term trade. We will see why when we jump on the chart. The second trade, the GBP one, was a short-term trade, and it also ended up being a short-term trade because I stick with that trade for like 1 day approximately. So just before we jump on the chart, if you guys would like to learn more about how I trade, work with us directly and join our trading group, make sure you check out the first link in the description box below. It will bring you over to my website, which is my trading course, and you will learn exactly what you will get when you actually join us and how you can do that. So let's jump on the chart. As always, I will show you guys everything that you need to know about these trades, whether it's the entry, the stop, the target, the view of the market, etc, etc. So let's actually do that. Alright, so we are now on my chart. Let's start with USDN and then we will finish with GBPN. Both of these trades ended up as pretty good trades, especially USDN. I made a lot more money on USDN than GBPN, but overall these two trades were great. They both ended up in profit. I made, if I'm not mistaken, I think I made 4.4% in total. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more, I'm not sure, I'll have to check out, but that's approximately the profit that I made on these trades. So let's actually take a look at them. Let's start with USDN on the overall daily and even weekly time frame. Let's go on there. So on the weekly time frame, as you guys can see, well, the overall view of the big time frame right now is not 100% clear, simply because we are in the middle of this big pattern right here, which means that there are many different ways that the market could actually develop. It depends on what pattern it decides to do, but since we are in the middle of the market, well, it can make pretty much anything that the market wants to do. So that is the reason why on the higher time frame it's hard to make any type of predictions. We will probably eventually see this go back one more up here, probably one more down, and then we will see if the pattern will be over at this point, or if we will see another pattern or even a bigger one. So on the higher time frame, as I just showed you guys, well, we can expect one more up. Now there are many reasons of why that is. The main reason is simply because this pattern is likely going to be over. Now when we go on the lower time frame, let's go already on the 4-hour. Well, on the 4-hour, we can see that we got this drop, and then we reversed back with this impulse. We got this big correction, and we continue the upside. So that is the upside that I traded in. So let's actually go on the 1-hour and see where the entry was. So as I just showed, well, that was the big correction that I was actually trading. I was looking to get into a trade which will lead me to actually make a lot of money, because that would actually break out of the correction, continue with the next impulse, and that simply means that we were going to get a big movement. Now my entry, as you guys can see, was here. My stop loss was not very far. It was above, under this low right here. There are many reasons for that as well, why that is. The main reason is simply because if that was actually have gone down and break these levels, that means that the pattern will have been a different one, and we were not looking at the same pattern as the one that I wanted to trade. Now that was for the stop. And the target, well, as I just showed you guys, I had many different targets and places I was looking to actually take profit. The main target was on the higher picture. Now I knew that when I got into the trade, I would not stick in that trade for like months or even years, right? Now even if I'm trading a very long-term movement, I'm likely going to take many trades and close many trades within that movement. That's just part of how I trade in my strategy. It doesn't mean that it's the best way to do it. Like it doesn't even mean that there is a best way. At the end of the day, it just becomes important to actually handle your trades according to your personality and your trading style. So now that is said, let's see what happened on the lower time frame after taking the trade. So I took the trade exactly at this point when it started breaking out, and well, we see that we continue with this nice movement here. We got another pattern here, and we continued with the next impulse. So when this pattern broke out here, I decided to move my stop. It was already at break even, but I decided to move it here simply because if that was breaking and then coming back down, we were also looking at another pattern. That is the reason why my stop eventually was at this point. After that, we got this impulse, we got this correction, and we got the next impulse. So when this correction actually broke out, well, I simply took my stop and moved it under this correction, because once again, if this was breaking out, then we are looking at a different pattern. And guess what? That is exactly what is actually happening. You see here that we got a big impulse now. Well, not a really big, but it's still an impulse down, basically, breaking out of the low of the correction, and now we are starting another pattern, which at that point we don't know which direction it could go, because this has two different ways. It could either go back up like this, probably even some more development in that zone, or it could also simply go straight back down to make another pattern on the big time frame. So that is basically the main reason why I closed the trade. So overall, that was a pretty good trade. My entry was here, and I got out of the trade at this level, so that I made a, as you guys can see, well, a pretty good profit. So that was for the USDN. I mean, it's not really more complex. Obviously, there are a lot more things that are involved in my trading. I don't explain every single thing in those free YouTube videos, simply because I have to keep a lot of things for my students as well, right? I need to prioritize the people who actually take the course. But here I'm, as you guys know, while I'm trying to give still, as many information as possible that I can share for free. So that's basically the idea behind the USDN1. Let's go on GBPN. So GBPN, this trade was a short-term trade, as I said in the beginning of the video. So as always, well, let's start on the higher time frame. Let's actually go on the full screen mode. Yeah, I think it's better because we simply see more of the chart. Anyway, let's continue. So let's start on the daily, actually. So on the daily, as you guys can see, we are in the middle of this pattern right here. Looking at what we have, I don't think that this pattern is over. Meaning, I don't think that this is over and that we're going total downside. I think that what is more likely to happen is that we see one more up eventually here, not necessary to those levels, but one more up, pretty much, a big upside. As I showed on USDN, it's pretty much the same direction that both of these markets could go, and for the same reasons as well. Now, when we go on the lower time frame, let's actually go on the 4-hour. So you see on the 4-hour that we got this big impulse up, and we're starting probably a correction. So we have the impulse up, and we have a pattern here that is forming. Now, when we go on the 1-hour, that is when the trade happened. So on the 1-hour, I started looking for that sell when we actually broke this level right here. Now, there is a very specific reason of why that is. Once again, it's because of what pattern it was actually making and what structure was in place at that moment. Now, we had two possibilities after breaking this level. One of them was that we would come down, which is exactly what we did, right? And the other one was that we would simply break upside right now. I was more looking for the downside, honestly, because this whole pattern here was not really clear when it was already breaking up like this with that scenario, which is why I was expecting mainly one more down here. Now, after that, we got this impulse here, we got this pattern here. When we broke out of the pattern, I took the trade right here on the lower time frame. I had another sell setup. Now that was the entry. The stop was above this stop. Why? Well, because that was a very critical point, even more important than anything I just showed before. Because if this was breaking up like this after that, then we were probably heading for the big upside I was talking about before. So that level was extremely important. This one was not really important. And once again, there are a lot of reasons for that, but that one was the important level. This one was pretty much irrelevant, simply because this could have done this and still go back down after that, but not above this one here. So we had this down move here, we had this correction here, and we got the next down move right here, which is what I traded on. My target was a little lower, as you guys can see. It was around those levels. I removed the tools that were showing me the targets, but that was basically around that area. Not only because of the trends, by the way. That's not as simple as that, right? We would all wish that it was so simple, but it's a little more complex than what it looks like. And you know, keep in mind, guys, that I'm also trying to make as simple as possible, because those videos are also there to help new people that are actually getting into trading to start understanding a little bit what is happening on the market. So I just wanted to make that clear as well. But basically, we got this downside, we got another correction here, we got one more down, and then we reversed back. My stop was at this level, and this is where I got out of the trade, simply because if that was breaking this level, then we were probably heading back up for one more upside, which is exactly what is already happening, right? You see that we already have this upside, and we will probably continue in that direction for the upcoming weeks. So that's basically the idea behind GBPN. So we saw the overall view of the market, the entry, the stop, the target, and also how the trade evolved after taking it. And we did the same thing on USDN. So that was the trade breakdowns for USDN and GBPN. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, I hope that you like it and that it helped you. If it did, please share the video around you with another trader. First of all, I would really appreciate it, because that would just help me, you know, grow my channel, because I'm trying to bring you guys as much value as possible with weekly videos, and you will also, well, help another person if you actually learn something from that. All right, so on that, thank you so much for watching. Take care, trade with care, manage your money well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.